Hello, I am Claire Snowden-Darling from Balance Wellness and the College of Functional Wellness, and welcome to my College of Functional Wellness Open Day. And I'm delighted to kick my day off by talking to the very wonderful Claire Hattrick, who is the blogger Clipboard Claire. And I have had the absolute privilege of meeting Claire pretty much through well, this is our first time of actually seeing each other face to face, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really exciting, Claire.
It is, and I have had the privilege of being invited to be a regular, what do you call them? A moderator? No, yeah, moderator.
A co-host. You co-host with me.
Co-host on with your amazing Clubhouse room on menopause, and the people that we are. The other co-hosts are of such a high caliber. It is the most incredible room, and Claire doesn't just do Clubhouse. You also, we're going to talk about it today, but you also have a website called Clipboard Claire, and
I do
blog, and you have a load of information on there which is really aimed at supporting women in general, but also to really eliminate midlife overwhelm. And you also host a Facebook page called Menopause Help Before, During and After. Mm-hmm. And really the reason I wanted to talk to you today is because what I feel is, having been in some of your amazing rooms and checked out your menopause group and also seen your website, is I feel that you have tapped into this, I mean, it is a cold face, isn't it? It's a huge sea of women who are going through hormonal issues, are maybe in that midlife area, are so confused about what is going on in their bodies, and also navigating life in general and work and children, and they're just kind of losing their minds.
First of all, Claire, I want to jump in and just say it's always a pleasure to have you on the panel. You've always got something really great to bring to the room, and it helps so many other people. I have actually had some messages from people off Clubhouse who say that, you know, they go away, they do take from our meetings what we discuss, and they do try these, you know, tested and tried theories. What works for one person, we're always saying doesn't work for another. But I'm with you. I think women are so thrown, and for me, I'm post-menopause, so I kind of look back now and think, my God, if only I knew then what I know now. And my passion, especially with clipboardclaire.com, is to just give people a few short blogs. Some people don't want to read a massive great book. They just need to know, why have I got that buzzing in my ear? So I've written a book, I've written a blog on menopause tinnitus, and the amount of people that have just messaged me on that silly little blog alone have gone, oh my God, that's what I've suddenly got, this ringing in my head. Thought it was my husband driving me mad, but no, I've actually got a constant ringing in my ear. So it's just trying to help these women go through this awful time where brain fog is kicking in. Like you say, they're spinning so many plates. We've got kids, we've got children going off to uni. If you've got older children, you've maybe got grandchildren coming into the equation. It is just a complete juggling act constantly. So it's just been a real pleasure to meet you on Clubhouse. And
amazing.
We get on really well, we gel, and there's such a wealth of knowledge and people that actually do want to help people, and they don't necessarily want massive money for it. But, you know, obviously everybody needs to earn a living, but there's just, it's not talked about. It's such a taboo subject. Obviously we have the Davina McCall thing. I was privileged enough to do a Sun double page spread and be next to Davina. But I know all too soon that will all dwindle away, and it will dwindle away. And people like yourself, Claire, with what you're doing with your college is absolutely brilliant. And GPs need to be brought up to speed. I hate it when, you know, even on my room, my Facebook group, there is a bit of a GP bashing. I am going to defend them a bit, because I think to have to know from top to toe, male, female, every single ailment, nobody in the world can cope with all that. And I don't think we should bash our GPs. I think the GPs they're overworked. You know, they've got 7.5 minutes in an average call to go in and sort you out. And when you're sat there with brain fog, you're sat there maybe with your menopause app that won't get a signal, hence why Clipboard Claire has manual ones. You can't beat the old-fashioned ones. My GP actually follows me. She says, I love your menopause. Your actual, you know, ones that people print out and they bring in their tracker set. And I can just see by their symptoms, that's a case for HRT, which obviously with the whole Davina thing, now we've opened up a whole new conversation.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And that is one of the things I've loved about the Clubhouse talks, is that in the same room, there are a couple of GPs, there might be pelvic health specialists, there's a couple of different nutritionists. Predominantly, we are saying the same things, which I think is incredibly reassuring to women. And I agree with you. I used to be one of the alternative health therapists that was very bashing the doctors' modality. However, I then had the humility to become very good friends with a senior consultant gastroenterologist, and I suddenly started to learn the difference between what we do and what they do. And he always said that one of the issues with alternative is they always try and get the same credibility as they want doctors' approval. He said, actually, it's the difference that makes you special. And he said, because what people don't really understand is that and this comes across in your rooms, is that we are so governed by regulations. So it's not the GP's fault, it's the regulations fault, or because it's...
Can I just jump in there, Claire? My GP and people, a lot of the GPs are always saying, we wish we had more, the alternative therapies. Let's get them regulated. Let's get them governed. So I can say to somebody who's having hot flushes, which personally I've never suffered with, but I've got several friends that swear by acupuncture.
Yeah.
But the GP, because it's not on their radar, they're not allowed, oh, we're not allowed to do that, we're not allowed. And I guess it's very difficult from the government down, isn't it? You've got to have regulations, or Joe Blogs will be setting up, sticking needles in whoever.
Yeah.
So it's got to have some sort of leadership, but they're not open-minded enough about it. And that the NHS is under so much pressure, let alone the whole COVID situation.
So much pressure. And actually that's, I want to talk about your blog in more depth, but it feels timely to say that this is the reason that Laura and I are so passionate about the college that we run, because our training is very, very unique, because we are the only college we are combining the latest research in functional nutrition and functional science, taking a lot out of functional medicine and teaching practitioners about hormone issues. So we teach, our main therapy is something called kinesiology, but we are the only kinesiology that focuses on hormonal disturbances. And so because we were getting inundated with people coming in with irritable bowel syndrome and autoimmune conditions and menopause or PCOS and endometriosis. And as a practitioner, kind of sit there and go, oh, I don't know what to do for that, because that's like a seriously proper thing. So we went, right, how do we bring all of this information together and actually train practitioners on what's going to come through their door? We've gone past the stage in society where it's good to have complementary therapy, don't get me wrong, just to chill out and relax and those things, but we need to take the pressure off the NHS. So this is where it's become for me about how do we collaborate. So our college is absolutely, all of our courses are up to the CNHC regulations, which means that GPs can refer. They're allowed to. We're up to the government recognized standards, and that it was really important to us. And we don't just teach kinesiology, we also teach wellness coaching. So it's all of this hormone knowledge, but basically
so up on your gut health as well. I've learned so much from you, Claire. I mean, I never realized, I'm going to go off at a tangent now, this is menopause, but how real gut health is to menopause. In fact, I'm just literally doing gut health as my latest blog at the moment. So by the time I've researched it, looked into it, I can spend weeks writing a blog and getting my facts right. But the glory of being a blogger is I'm not pro doctors. I'm a bit of everything, and I love it. And if I can recommend a product in there that has worked for somebody I know as a blogger, nobody can have me over the coals. Obviously, we put disclaimers in all our blogs, but it's real women, and it's not, we always say this, one size doesn't fit all. My journey through menopause, as you well know, and I'm sure everyone's bored of hearing, is my joint issues. But that really is gut related. I'm really trying to cut down on my sugar. And guess what? That in turn is helping my sleep. I hate it because as a single mum, my routine was always, when the girls were little, as you know, they're 23 now, my good girl treat was to bomb downstairs, sit and eat a little bit of chocolate, have a cup of tea, have a couple of biscuits. And that has become a really bad habit, and it's really hard for me to break. And people just say, stop sugar. I can't stop that in the evening. It's habitual with me. It's like people who secretly smoke and they go out in the evenings and they're squatting down by their bins. I've got friends that have a quick fag in the evening and nobody knows they smoke. Again, that's a bit of a menopause thing. I've got a friend that licks coal.
Yeah.
What is
you pregnant? That's so funny.
What is that about? I mean, but she said, I don't care. I lick my bit of coal and it works for me.
Isn't that fascinating?
But she reckons it really keeps her going and really keeps her motivated. And she has a great night's sleep on it, licking a piece of coal. I mean, that's a new one on me. But
honestly,
don't knock it till you've tried it, Claire.
Hormone issues present in the most fascinating way, don't they? And I think the thing that's, I mean, I knew it, having been a clinician, but it's come into sharp focus in your rooms, both your Facebook support group and your room, is just how lost women are. And so, the fact that you are taking your personal story, that you are blogging, that you are educating yourself, just, being able to bring together the powerhouse of presenters that you've brought together is incredible, because women...
time on that, Claire, if I can just jump in. I've got a file. I wish I'd had it here now. It's like that. And when I first went onto Clubhouse, typical clipboard Claire, organised, bossy style, I stalked out, for want of a better word, GPs, and I can tell you what probably the top 500 people on there do. I thought, to get these rooms off and get into really good stuff. You don't want a room full of all GPs. You don't want, a room full of kinesiologists. You want a real wealth of a little bit of this, that, and the other, to just sort of say, right, we've got everything here in the mix. And that is the glory of the Menopause Lounge, the club I've got on Clubhouse, because I try and mix it about. Now we've got our standard group. I love it because people can have a week off, but then we've always got a GP in the room. Louise is absolutely great. We've always got yourself. We've got Thelma, who I know you've got a podcast with later, and she's going to be talking about those bioidenticals. That's coming into that conversation. And like we've got Jackie Vagina McCusker. She makes me open my eyes to things. And we've got Pamela talking about her orgasms. And Claire, you don't have to be single. There's plenty of ways of fleecing a cat, It opens even me. I thought there wasn't anything I didn't really know, as I've literally been doing it, as 7 days a week. But even you guys are teaching me stuff all the time, and I'm constantly writing notes down.
Yeah.
I don't even see my notes because I don't want to put them in my phone. I like to have notes stuck about. Once they've been dealt with, the note goes in the bin, and it's kind of a little bit of a good girl treat as well. I think, right, I've only got 4 left to do. You don't want to look over that end of the table. 200 on there. But yeah, so it's just so good on Clubhouse, and I really want that to really take off, because it's such a wealth of knowledge, and it's such a shame that it's not opened up. And I think we should start recording the rooms so other people can hear them, so it diverts that traffic to yourself. Maybe there's GPs and there are GPs actually. Dr. Amoni Grasper, she's on there. She might direct people to you guys and get that help from the GP perspective. And from my perspective, the more that we have practitioners who, because for me, when we actually hear what's going on inside the GP's heads, I'm able to take this back to my students, because there are a lot of people who are like anti-GPs, and there is a real haven't there? And there's a real them versus us belief between the alternative world and the GP world. And the more that we can actually go, no, this is their perspective, and this is how we fix that problem. The more, for me, that we can create these frontline coaches that are unburdening the NHS, working with bloggers like yourself, people, working these rooms and actually going, this is the information that women need. You're right, people need to earn a living, but the more we can get out there with this information, absolutely. It just gives me goosebumps, because this is passionate as I mean, we've just launched our little ebook, and some people keep saying, I haven't got time to read a massive great book. So again, we've launched our ebook. You can download it if you've got Amazon and you've got Kindle. You can download it for free. And again, a lady out of the blue messaged me late last night. In fact, I think she was probably in America, because I got it early hours of this morning, just saying, oh my goodness, I did not know about the difference in quality of supplements. And I dread to think how much my poor mother has spent on high street supplements. I've now found a company who will tell you the grade, where this plant has come from. You know, they are a brilliant, brilliant company. And again, I recommend them through my blogs. What works for me doesn't work for anybody else. But that magnesium citrate, for me, that just turned my sleep pattern around massively. And why shouldn't I share that with people? Why should I keep that little gem to me? Yeah, a lot of people say citrate they don't normally use. I've given it now. I've actually spread my cocaine powder around my friends, and they're now saying, can you order me some? Can you order? And I'm saying, well, go through our useful links on Clipboard Claire, and you might get every now and again, they give our affiliates, they give people like us that work with them just 10% off for no reason at all. So
absolutely,
check out clipboardclaire.com. It's there to help. All our blogs are free. I'm like you, Claire, we want to get out there and help people.
We really do. And that education around good quality nutrition, because as kinesiologists we recommend nutrition, we work with nutrition, we work with different nutrition companies, and you're absolutely right. The most expensive supplement is the one that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's something that we're really passionate about. Like magnesium, we recommend to everyone. If everyone, you know, and magnesium is astonishing.
But it helps so many different things. Again, doing my next research for vaginal dryness, somebody will jump in there, or anxiety. Magnesium comes up again every single time.
Does over 300 things in the body. It is one of the core pieces of nutrition that we recommend. And the great thing about magnesium, just to drop that in here, is depending on your sort of symptoms, you can find magnesium for you. So for people with diarrhea, if they need gluing up, then magnesium glycinate. If there's a bit of constipation, magnesium citrate. This is a bit simplistic, but if you've got muscle twitches, magnesium malate. And then if you need to calm down, then magnesium taurate. Calm down. But it's just, and you can actually take some mixtures of, you can take, I take citrate and malate at the same time. Brilliant, just brilliant. It is a game changer. Women need it a lot more than men, and it is not in our soils anymore. We're so depleted. So this is where I get so passionate about, we can change symptoms. We can take that pressure off the NHS.
But people are suffering so unnecessary. When there's people like you and people like me that are sat here and all we want to do is get our information. I want to write my blogs. I want to guide them to people like yourselves. And I think people do initially, going back to GPs, I think they go there because that is your medical profession and that's the done thing and that's what we're trained to do in life. We go to our GPs from the minute we're born. But what do you do with someone like me when there's nothing else you can do? When you're at the end of your, you've been to, with my joints, you've done the arthritis, you've done the fibromyalgia, you've done the Lyme's disease, you've kind of gone through all that lot. So I'm left like this, like Dobby getting out of bed in the morning, like a 190-year-old, and you feel it's depressing. I don't want to, I'm a gym bunny. I love going to the gym. I like that feel good factor. I like those, the endorphins being released. I can't be bothered sometimes. I'm in so much agony when I fall out of bed onto my knees every morning. So when there's people like you that could possibly help me, why aren't the GPs guiding? And they can sign that person off. That alleviates them to sort the person out that's got a manky toe. And then I get referred to Claire Snowdon Darling, and you're like, right, let's see what we can do for you.
Absolutely.
It's another avenue. Do
you know, the case studies that we train our practitioners with are usually like when we're the last resort. They come out, some of these case studies literally in the first weekend when we're giving them these case studies, obviously completely anonymous, but these case studies, and they're sort of going, wow, we'd have referred them on. And I'm like, no, by the end of this course, you're not going to be referring them on, because and then we sort of break down, look at the diet, look at stress, look at this, look at the real basics, because there are gaps here. Otherwise they wouldn't have symptoms. And like, for me, it is as simple as that. If there are places for you to help if they've still got symptoms, and
and the GPs, in their defence, they don't want people like me. I mean, before I went to my GP 8.5 years ago when this started, I think I'd had my ear pin back when I was 7, a shoulder stabilisation in 95, an emergency caesarean with the girls 23 years ago now with the twins. And I think I'd gone for a pill check, and maybe I'd had a prescription for hay fever tablets every now and again. But other than that, and then you look at, I mean, I must have my own parking space. You
Yeah.
know, I've gone through times, and it did, I can talk about it now, but I didn't. I suffered terribly with anxiety, because when you've suddenly been so fit, and you literally, I was crippled. I've done everything from giving up exercise, I've changed my diet, I've laid on the floor, I've even slept on the floor so I don't have to get down out of the bed in the morning. My father has just bought me a new car because I literally can't get up out of the car anymore.
Wow.
Being an out of work beauty therapist, you know, I've had another, you talk about stress, I've been stressed in the last year. I'm not as stressed now. I'm post menopause. Anyone that's listening to this, definitely my attitude in the last sort of year, 2 years has changed. I think your stress levels, being post menopause, definitely I'm a lot more chilled, and I'm a quite a stressy person anyway.
Mm.
But definitely, why have I been left to suffer when nobody's ever talked to me about going to see, you know, anybody alternative, no, in any way, shape or form. They haven't said, Claire, your elbows are burning, go and see somebody who does acupuncture, go and see someone who can put the kinesiology to. Nobody has ever suggested that. So for 8 years, and now the latest thing is they want me to wear a permanent neck brace to
Wow.
work in, which I was literally claustrophobic. I couldn't even swallow. When I brought it home, my daughter, who's a paramedic, said, Mum, we would put that on you if you were intubated, if HEMS had turned up and taken over your breathing. So I've got this bit of concrete that I've got to try. It takes 4 people. I had some family members down the weekend, and for a laugh, they tried to get it around my neck. And they want me to take mind-blowing painkillers that will end up probably causing me a stomach ulcer and are addictive. Why do I want to spend at 53 the rest of my life taking that?
Do you know what's really interesting is we're in the process of writing a foundation course. So we used to use a different foundation course, and we've now been given the go-ahead to write our own foundation course, which is very, very exciting. But one of the things we teach in that foundation course is elbow pain is actually linked to hormones.
Right.
Isn't that
Because
weird?
my elbows are very hot.
Isn't that
Do you
interesting?
feel my elbows now? They are red hot. The rest of me, my hands get quite cold. I've
Wow.
always been a warm morsel. My elbows now, if I put them on somewhere cold, they would probably hiss. And I do put ice on them. I've tried everything.
That is fascinating. So in kinesiology, we work with 4 different things. We work biochemically. So what food are we putting in the body that we don't like, and what supplements does the body need? We work emotionally. So we do a huge amount of emotional coaching and with things like this overwhelm, and give people tools and techniques. We work electrically. So by electrically, I mean, we actually use acupuncture points. We work with acupuncture meridians. We don't actually put needles in. We do acupressure holding, and we work with the meridians in a specific way. And then we work structurally. So we do actually, you know, look at postural stuff, and we rebalance muscles, and we do some manipulations. But what I wanted to talk to you about was, so just tell me a bit about what was it that led to you starting your blog? Because that's all quite
Oh, well, what a perfect opening. We're talking about my elbows. So basically, I was a single mum. The girl's dad left when they were 2 years, 3 weeks. They both went off to university, plodded through life. Then obviously I ended up with my joint problems. Abby came back to finish her biochemistry degree last end of March. Beth came back. She came back about a week early. She managed to get some time off from London Ambulance Service. And I came into the lounge, and my lounge was like a toddler playground. We had laptops, we had phones, there was bits of paper everywhere. And basically I sat, the girls went, right, Mum, sit down, be quiet, don't say anything. I went, oh, what's going on? And they said, Mum, we see you when you work part-time, when you come out of your salon, we know you sit and cry. We know you're in pain. We hear you grunting at night, because they say I grunt a lot, but I think it's where I move and I get stuck. We know you're really exasperated with the last 8.5 years. We know you've been really downhearted. You feel you've lost a lot of your life. And you love helping others. You're bossy. You take control. I'm ticking all the boxes in my head going, that's not kind. but it's true. And you've always had a passion. You're a giver, not a taker. You've always talked about doing a blog. Now is your time. We're in the best, obviously being London paramedic, we're not going to be opening up anytime soon, Mum. You are in close proximity. You're in the worst industry you possibly could be in. Now is the time to jump ship. Abby is going to do all the tech, my biochemist. So she basically YouTubed how to set up a website. Beth kind of runs a lot of the socials. She's on Pinterest from her ambulance. And literally the three of us, I mean, Abby just said, Mum, all I need you to do at this juncture is go away and write about yourself, write about your life, and be an ex-motor trade. So I'm not all pink and fluffy. I worked for John Medeski. I was selling advertising to the motor trade. So I've kind of got that background. And that's when Clipboard Claire was born. We've been running a year. We launched the 31st of July, 2020. And we cannot believe how big it's become. We're being, approached. I think I'm in the Telegraph in a few weeks' time to do a bit of name dropping. And then Abby fell across Clubhouse, which was like, oh God, just when we thought we had a really good direction with 3 million things to do, we then changed the names in our blog to run alongside Clubhouse. So that's the menopause part of my blog is now the Menopause Lounge. So, we just thought if that goes big, we're in place to do what we needed to do.
Oh, so, gorgeous story.
So that's actually how, and they said, we know you won't like it, but we think you should call it Clipboard Claire. And it was actually my neighbours that when the girls' dad left, they always used to say, 5 o'clock girls, tea time, 6 o'clock bath, 7 o'clock bed. And I'm quite, I suppose, you're embarrassed when people say that, but I think as you get older, I'm really happy to talk about private things. I mean, I've got some male friends and they're like, talk to me about this vaginal dryness. They went, I can't look at you when you say it. But the amount of women that say they can't sit down. And again, I've looked into all that and it just breaks my heart. And I don't want my girls to go through the absolute hell. I mean, without a doubt, I've suffered with anxiety. Years ago, I was under another hospital. I have got high-end asthma, but only when I'm cross-training. In the morning, everybody knows not to talk to me because the sweat is dripping off me, never had a hot flush. But basically, I was suffering with anxiety for 20 months, and it's taken years to talk about it. I walked around the house and I never got into bed because my anxiety was off the Richter scale. I'd had a really nasty relationship breakup. I'd lost a very good friend in the process, and I was in the gutter. And there is no two ways about it. There was some depression in there as well. I stopped leaving the house. And I think because when they did do these blood tests, they said, your estrogen should do this, Claire. Between your 6-week blood test, you were here and there is nothing. And they think it just hit my joints.
Yeah,
and here I am still suffering, really, 8.5 years on.
Yeah, and this is the joy of menopause, isn't it? And I started going through mine at 38. Still going through it because it's the never-ending menopause. It just doesn't ever want to end. And it is. This is what we teach, and this is what we want to get out there to women is how to manage symptoms. And I think one of the things, and it's sort of ingrained in us, probably from the medical model, is that there will be a silver bullet. This surgery will fix everything. This pill will fix everything. And my experience of, I had major hip surgery in 2016, and I didn't have to have a hip replacement. I haven't had to have one yet. They thought I would have needed it by now. But there is a management of chronic pain with menopause. There is a management of the symptoms, and for a lot of women, some women just sail through it, and I'm delighted for them. But for
not many, not a very small percentage, though.
Yeah, these days, because we're going into menopause chronically stressed. That's the problem. And I think it was actually Dr. Amoni who said the best menopause is one you're planning for at 30. And so that's again what we're teaching. We're trying to teach practitioners to teach people how to look after themselves ahead of time. And things like irritable bowel syndrome, autoimmune diseases, it's about management as opposed to looking for the silver bullet. Actually, these conditions are asking us to take stock of our lives, maybe even career pivot. Like, what do I have to do to be able to manage these symptoms? And that doesn't mean they don't go away. I mean, I never thought that with my chronic fatigue, I mean, like yesterday I cycled 40 minutes to the gym, did a body pump session, cycled 40 minutes back, and that was the end of a really long day. You know, back in the day, I used to need a nap in the middle of the afternoon. I don't need to do that anymore. So I'm okay with managing my symptoms and not ever, you know, in not eating pizzas on a regular basis and being careful with sugar. I'm okay with that, because I get to live a life. And so this is what we're teaching now, is this more realistic view of management versus, like you say, not taking painkillers and trying to put sticking plasters on it. It's how do I manage it? So I'm interested that so much about your blog is around helping people to get organized, and obviously I hear that fits your personality, but what was it that made you think that that's what people needed?
I'm going to digress here a bit, because my ultimate passion is to use all our blogs, get the NHS on board, and get them to give a booklet out to all women mid to late 30s, because I think if you're forewarned is forearmed, back to what Dr. Ammonia said. And I think I look back now and I took a lot of those boxes. Well, I had that. And a lot of people go, oh, I've sailed through menopause. But when you actually speak to them about it, and they go, oh, well, I did have that. And oh, I have just had a split up my backside because I'm constipated, because I've got diarrhea. And it's like, but you haven't sailed through it, because guess what? I'm going to angle that back. That's a menopause trait. That's me all over. So I guess the organization bit comes from me, is I just think if you had this booklet, if you knew what to expect, I think people would, in their heads, they'd be ticking a few boxes. They wouldn't be so stressed out. They wouldn't be so worried. Why can't I get out of bed? Why I'm sat on the toilet now? And, you know, why have I got these clumps coming out of me? Why have I got this period from hell? And why am I bleeding again? And oh my God, have I got cancer? And going down the horrendous route. I just think that if, back to being organized, Clipboard Claire, let's get this book out there. And let's, you know, we should be putting in our books. I'm thinking, as talking to you, Claire, we should be putting the alternative therapies in there, in these blogs, and not just gearing it towards the GPs. But I kind of feel that is people's first port of call.
I think
you're going to go to your GP. So let's inform them. Let's get this book. In fact, let's forget the GPs. Let's just get everybody. When you get to 50, I know you're not there yet, Claire. Once you get to 50, you go for a wellness check. Why are we not at 40 having a wellness check for every woman and going bang, slap, there's a book?
We get one at 40 now. I had the lovely letter through, you know, when I turned 40. So we do get a 40-year-old wellness check.
Oh, right, you do now.
Because, I mean, I get women coming in to me and they're going, well, I'm 45. And I'm like, it's perimenopause. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And you know, at 38 onwards, I'm going, it's perimenopause. Or even 3 kids and 35, I'm going, that's a perimenopause symptom. That's
in your 40-year-old check, Claire. Did they talk to you about menopause, or was it just your heart, your lungs?
Absolutely didn't go anywhere near talking about menopause.
That's my argument. It's all right. I know they're looking at the biggies. They're looking at the killers, aren't they? They're looking at the breast cancer, the heart disease. They're not looking at the gut, which could be leading to all these other big issues.
And I'm not being funny, but my menopause led to me getting divorced, which ended up being horrific. And I mean, 3 years of just the most awful mental health, you know, just such awfulness and stress. I mean, my ex-husband did actually say to me, you know, the only reason you're doing this is because of your hormones. I was like, yeah, but that estrogen's not coming back, sweetie. So neither are you. That was literally my phrase to him.
Go walk out the door.
Slap that estrogen on the back of my thighs. I don't think there's any.
Yeah.
And because I changed so dramatically.
You do.
Well, like you said, you know, being in salon anymore. So for me, it's become more about educating other people to pick up the mantle. Yes, I still have my clients, but pick up the mantle. You go do that face-to-face work. I want to be more removed, educating the people who are going to take this message out there. It changes us. We don't have so much of that giving energy anymore. I mean, estrogen itself is our caretaking. We don't have the tolerance when we don't have the estrogen.
Lack of estrogen, literally every blog, I'm almost, the ones I've been writing of late, it's almost like I might as well carbon copy the one I've written before.
Yes.
It's all about self-care. It's all about getting the right nutrients through your food, if not using supplements. And it's just the same old estrogen. It is the lack of it.
It's challenging, and especially started going through it around about 36, 38. My daughter was 10, 11, and so suddenly having a menopausal, perimenopausal mother,
and no tolerance. Daughter.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
just awful. So I think it is really important. And actually, I hear you. It would be great for GPs to hand it out. But also, my vision would be, I mean, I remember the first protocol we created was many, many, many moons ago, and it was for irritable bowel syndrome, because the gastroenterologist said to me, if you can create something for irritable bowel syndrome that the GPs can refer to, you will be saving the NHS, I mean, hundreds of millions a year. A year. And he said, because I'm going to be honest, we're not interested in the 35-year-old woman with irritable bowel syndrome. We want to get her out of our office so that we can get the person with cancer in. We can't help the irritable bowel syndrome woman, not really. We can help the people with cancer. We need to deal with the autoimmune disease. So we were like, well, if we can pick up that mantle and free up the NHS. So I think, yeah, if you can have a booklet that is giving people, this is what the GPs are likely to tell you, this is where the alternative people might help. We actually created a bowel hormone storm clinical model, which actually explains why your diet is actually causing your irritable bowel syndrome, and your diet and stress, which I will happily send you.
That's me, irritable bowel. Yeah, been there, got the t-shirt. So back to your question though, Claire, that is exactly, that's part of the whole organisation. And again, if you had this booklet in your clutter corner, everyone's got that bit in their kitchen, you could just be opening this booklet and saying, I'm ticking those boxes. That's me. I've got this symptom, that symptom, and this is what I can try doing about it, and not panicking on the phone to your GP, blocking the lines. I mean, if we go down into another lockdown and today isn't looking very good again, the NHS is stretched to God knows what.
The max. And I've always had this utopian vision of the NHS having a booklet of what it can't deal with. So it's actually being honest and going, we don't really have anything for IBS. Get it checked out, make sure it's not bowel cancer or colitis. Great idea. Let's make sure it is IBS. And then we can't help you. But there isn't right now, and this is not NHS bashing, but there isn't the transparency of what they can't help. Actually, we have very limited things that we can do for menopause. You're probably going to need some supplements that we can't advise you on, because that's not what our training's in. If people were actually to hear that, then they would go, okay, well, I'll get the HRT there. And if that doesn't work or it's not quite it, I know I need to go over here. I spend my life referring people back to the GP for different types of HRT. And then I say, actually, you might need some testosterone. You're not going to get it from them. I can't give you that one. We're going to have to go over here to this specialist. It is this
crossover. Yeah. And that's how it should be working, harmoniously, in hand in hand. But it doesn't always work like that. And yeah, I've been there where, you're just there. I don't know what to do with you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, there needs to be, and like we said, the NHS can't cover everything. I know a lot of the Americans, I know they have menopause specialists, and there seem to be a few hubs throughout the UK, but certainly that's never been mentioned to me. And I get on very well with my GP. They've never said, right, you need to go and see a hormone specialist, a menopause specialist. I don't know of any in the South. I have to be honest.
No, it's really,
but all these things are organisation though, Claire. Yeah. I think it's all forewarned, forearmed, tick those boxes out of that booklet. It's all being organised to stop the stress, to stop the anxiety, to stop putting so much pressure on our GPs. I mean, I've got friends that live at the GPs. They've taken my car parking appointment and place now from me. And I'm just like, oh my God, I know what it is, but I can't say that. I'm not medically trained. So I've just got to sit there, write my blogs and go, read that, try that supplement. If that hasn't worked, try this. So again, it's all kind of a box ticking exercise, sadly.
Yeah, but it's so true. And you're absolutely right. The more that we can go into those appointments, even having filled out, your menopause symptoms tracker or your hormone symptoms tracker, going in, being really organized, not just going in going, oh, I don't really know. And I'm the same with my clients. I'm like, log it all down, bring it back to me. Log it all down, bring it back to me. Claire, I could absolutely talk to you all day, but I just I wanted to give you an opportunity because there's so much free stuff on your blog, isn't there? And
it's all free.
All your blogs are free.
We've got all our blogs are free. We've got our little shop, and we've got our symptom trackers. We've got our ebook. We're going to hope to do another couple of volumes of that. Like I say, we are trying to hit the NHS. I know you can go down the private route, and I've got a few companies that have approached us, but I feel I sound like Thelma here, but I just feel that it should be open to everybody and not just the people that can afford it. And if obviously our free booklet, that we could work with the NHS and get it out and then direct people to businesses and companies like yourself, that
Yeah.
when they've ticked all those boxes, they're not frustrated, stressed out, more anxious, more depressed than they were when they started, because now there's nowhere for them to go, and you just go home and suffer in silence and close your doors and your windows, and you've got somebody else that's just going to be put on antidepressants because their life is so rubbish. So yeah, and that's what Clipboard Claire is about. It's my passion for helping others. It's all free. Jump on there, have a look, clipboardclaire.com, spread the word, friends, family. There's lots as well. I think you covered for me, thank you, Claire, about kids as well, being a single mum. But my passion is definitely where the menopause is, and that seems to, I think, thanks to the whole Davina thing. And she did receive a little bit of press bashing, I think, but she didn't have to bring that to the forefront and talk about her personal issues. And she hadn't, maybe we wouldn't be talking today. But my worry is all that will subside. All the papers, all the journalists, I'm in contact with journalists on a site I've been invited to be part of. At the moment, all the social media, everyone's talking about it, the radio stations this morning.
Honestly, it's the first time in my life I feel really trendy.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a TikTok.
Yeah, oh God.
A menopause TikTok dance or something.
I tell you what, what was really interesting for me was, I got into practice in 2008, and as kinesiologists, we're basically taught to be a bit like general practitioners, and we could deal with everything and anything. And then I started going through my hormone issues, and actually that's what led to the creation of the college. Was I was doing everything right. I was doing everything that I'd been taught to do, by the kinesiology I'd been, and the nutrition I'd learned, and all of the modalities I'd done. I was doing everything right. And I was getting more and more ill. And there was nothing showing up in blood tests at that point. I was in that tricky phase, in that perimenopause where nothing shows up. And I actually hit I've never been anxious. Oh my gosh, the overwhelm and the anxiety. I had to take a sabbatical. I was like, I cannot cope. And the story of our college is I was actually I took myself off to Australia before I left my ex-husband. I was like, I just need to go and clear my head. And I was sitting in Australia with a friend of mine on Byron Bay Beach. She lives over there, and she had recently become a single mum, and of 2 children. I think they were 3 and 6, something like that. And she was living in Sydney, one of the most expensive cities in the world. Had only just become a freelancer, was like, how am I going to make ends meet? Was so stressed, still processing all by herself in a different country, family over here. And she was complaining about these really bad periods, stress through the roof, but I could see her doing comfort eating, comfort shopping. And I actually just, honestly, this is how simple it was. We were sat there chatting on Byron Bay Beach, and I had my journal open, and I just scribbled down a triangle. And in the triangle, I just showed her how her bad periods were being caused by her incredible amount of stress and by this food. And I just explained it in this really simple way. And I kind of clocked it, but didn't think much of it. And I came back to the UK 6 weeks later, was having a conversation with my business partner, and went, oh, I found a really good way of explaining how diet impacts hormones. And she went, oh. And we started just to create a few one-day workshops on the back of it and teaching it to old students. And then the next thing I know, we said, well, actually, it would be really good to start, because this fits in with all of our old irritable bowel syndrome stuff. So let's now formulate it. And she was like doing all this research, like inhaling research. We realized that no one else was talking about this sort of triad, really, with blood sugars being the most key thing, because everyone can take this empowerment. And we started writing this course, and we ended up, and she, bless her, had just was 6 weeks postpartum. There were the videos for our students. Her boobs are so big I can barely fit in. Talk about all
move over
like that, squeezing in. Luckily, I was going through my divorce and was like so divorce diet. I was so skinny, I didn't need much space. Like these huge boobs. And what was really interesting to talk about organised, we had 2 hours a week to write this course, but we were so driven. We ended up sending it off to our governing body to get CPD accreditation. And they said, you've invented a whole new arm of kinesiology. go away and start a college. And so we jumped through the hoops, and now we have 8 accredited courses within our college. And the 3 biggies are the wellness coaching for people who don't want kinesiology. The kinesiology is the creme de la creme, and it includes all of the emotional stuff and the nutrition, everything. And then we also have this emotional coach course, which is we're very, very proud of.
It obviously worked for you, Claire, because you look absolutely glamorous and really well. So it's obviously working.
I feel it now, and there are limits. I do take bioidentical hormones, but we are now in the process of working with the bioidentical hormone doctor that I work with to create a bioidentical course for practitioners, because I use low dose bioidentical hormones in clinic, but these, you know, I take quite strong ones. But we are now creating that course for practitioners, because the Thelma I'm talking to later, she's right, you know, those doctors, they cost a lot of money, and it has cost me a fortune. So my passion is to have a raft of practitioners like me who charge, you know, a good complementary therapy price, but certainly not Harley Street prices, so that it is accessible to women to have those bioidentical hormones to get them through.
We can talk forever, Claire.
Can't we? Thank you. Tell everyone where they can find you. What is your blog and all the Facebook bits?
Oh, bless you. So yeah, please check us out, clipboardclaire.com. Do a Google search or check me out. Lovely Facebook group. I think we've got about 9,600 ladies now, and that's menopause help before, during and after. That's our Facebook group. You'll find us on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. Just check us out. Everything's free, and spread the word. And all we ask is everybody signs up to clipboardclaire.com. And the more people we get signed up, the more it gets us out there and noticed, and we can talk about this.
Yeah, thank you so much for your passion.
No, thank you, Claire, for the lovely podcast. It's been brilliant. We could talk forever. We could do a day one.
We could do a whole day just on menopause and organisation.
Oh, bless you. It's lovely of you to have me on. I think you're absolutely going to go from strength to strength with your college. I think it's brilliant, and I will be back. In fact, you can come and talk on my group. You've got to come and talk.
I'd love to. I'd absolutely love to, because
don't forget, you've got to sign up to Clipboard Claire as well for me, Claire, and get it out there.
I have. I bought your menopause symptom tracker.
Oh, bless you.
So I can show clients so they can go buy it.
Yeah, the more people we get on there, the more, you know, our SEO, our search engine optimization is going through the roof. That's what we need. And then what we can do is we can bring, once we're kind of here and we're getting involved with the press, we want to bring other companies with us. And like yourself, it's really interesting hearing about your college, Claire. Really, really good.
Oh, thank you.
And have an amazing day. And I know you've got some really, really good people coming to chat to. So if everybody's watching, stay tuned, because you've got some really great people.
Thank you. And it's really exciting because you've also highlighted for me the beauty of career pivoting, which I'm talking about with my next guest, because most of the women, well, we do train mostly women. Men are welcome, but it tends to be women that are coming to alternative therapies in their droves. But we tend to, everyone who comes, it's career pivoting. I'm sick of that world. I want to get into this world. So thanks for highlighting how brilliant a career pivot is. Have a wonderful day, and I will see
you, Claire. See you soon, my lovely. Thank you for the invite.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.